Just because something is hard to obtain does not mean that it is valuable.
Just because something is hard to obtain doesn't mean it's valuable.
Look at the car he's driving, look at the watch he's wearing, look at the girl he's with. These things were hard to obtain, so you presumed that they were valuable, but you didn't realize that what's genuinely valuable are friendships and relationships and a comfort and a confidence in yourself and peace of mind and sanity and being able to positively impact the people around you.
If my dad had been an alcoholic, and you ask me, Cliff, why are you an alcoholic? And I say, well, because my dad was an alcoholic. And then I've got 5 younger siblings, none of whom are alcoholics, and you ask them, well, why are you not alcoholics? And they say, because my dad was an alcoholic. See, what we're getting at is, yes, we're all influenced by the environment we grew up in, no question about it. But then we choose what we're going to do with that environment. And I can choose to use my dad being an alcoholic to justify me being an alcoholic, or I can say, you know something? I'm never going to touch a drop of alcohol because my dad was an alcoholic and I saw how destructive it was in his life.
Give a man a purpose and the ability to achieve it, and he will crawl over broken glass with a smile. And I think that feeling capable and powerful and competent and respected and admired is something that will get a man so far. You give a man those things, he'll deal with suffering until the ends of the earth. We're designed to do that. We're designed to suffer. We're designed to deal with that suffering. But it needs to be in service of something. The man that suffers and doesn't have competence, capability, purpose, respect, meaning, admiration, that's a man that's depressed. That's a man who is alone and struggling and may take his own life, or may become increasingly useless to the potential partner and society around him, or may become radicalized, in one form or another. And a man who is able to do things well is useful to everybody around him.
So if you wake up in the morning and you don't want to do something, you don't care enough about yourself. And that's what you need to really research is, man, why am I not doing this for myself? Because that is the number one purpose in life, is to better oneself.
And it is incredibly difficult to compete with someone who's being themselves. How am I going to be a better Joe Rogan than Joe Rogan is? The best that I can hope for is being the second best Joe Rogan in the world, if I decide to do that. So if you decide to lean into the thing that only you can do, that is where your competitive advantage lies. And that doesn't mean that you can't progress forward. That doesn't mean that you can't enhance yourself and develop new skills. But I do think that there's something to do with embracing the uniqueness that you have that will allow you to direct yourself towards something that is more fulfilling, that's more in line with you, that is competitively more effective. Socially, people are going to resonate with you. We don't love people for how much they're like other people. No one's ever fallen in love with someone and said, you know what it is? I just love the fact that I can accurately predict all of their opinions without having heard their thought on something beforehand. I just adore how predictable she is. No. It's because of how unique they are.
I think about this every day. I mean, we are living in a war of attention. I wake up in the morning and I can be a consumer or a creator. If I reach for my phone, I'm a consumer. If I go to my journal, I'm a creator. My advice to anyone who wants to be successful in any domain is to do things away from where you broadcast and then take it to that broadcast. I mean, take your real life to Instagram and be very cautious about taking Instagram to your real life.
The depth of my consciousness causes me to suffer. Is it a blessing or a curse to feel everything so very deeply? The only way out is through. You take more of the thing that poisons you until you turn it into a tonic that girdles the world around you. I wish I didn't think about things as much. I wish I didn't care about things as much. I wish I didn't worry. I wish I didn't have as much anxiety. But guess what? You do. So how are you going to play the cards that you've been dealt? And that's a huge advantage to tons and tons and tons of ways, except for a couple. And the pains are very obvious, and all of the rewards are very hidden. So you need to go through. The only way out is to find them.
When you're suffering or you're lazy or you're procrastinating, doing something that's harder than the state that you're in bounces you back much faster.
Yes.
This is all based in the dynamics of dopamine. It's sort of crazy. If you know how people are procrastinating to write something and they start cleaning the house?
Yeah.
Something they normally don't want to do. Well, it's just something that's easier than the thing that you're supposed to do.
Right.
It turns out, and I learned this from Anna, if you do something that's even harder than the thing that you're trying to avoid, all of a sudden you're able to do that. And you're like, oh, okay, well, it's just psychology, right? No, it's not psychology alone. It's psychology, but once dopamine is deployed at that level, you're a different person.
If you go visit the darkness that you've been running from, you'll have the opportunity to leave a better person. you'll have a better understanding of yourself. You'll have a better understanding of your purpose. But if you don't take that trip and the darkness comes visit you, it's a guest that will never leave.
If you win, you win. If you lose, you learn.
Yeah.
And so you always win. And if you really can think about it that way, every time, I remember pretty much every time I've ever been humiliated on the mat, every time I've ever been like really manhandled and tapped, I remember them very well.